The Ultimate Universe, a new concept and storyline introduced by Marvel Comics in the early 2000s, aimed to bring a wave of fresh and refined iterations of popular Marvel characters, primarily set on Earth 1610. The most notable change in this universe from previous versions was the explicit grittiness and often raw style of storytelling, particularly in the visuals. Along with that, the characters, their suits, dialogues, actions, and origins. All of them seem to have undergone a reinterpretation in the Ultimate Universe, often darker than their Earth 616 counterparts. Now, just imagine if these changes were brought on to the most heinous characters, who already seem too extreme for the mainstay reality version. What if a supervillain in the universe, capable of literally devouring planets, was somehow given a more chilling and villainous upgrade? We talk of Galactus for Earth 616, but for Earth 1610, he's even worse. He now is Galactus. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is Galactus? Galactus is a cosmic being originating from Earth 1610. This monster is not a singular being, but rather an immense, all-powerful hive mind, consisting of innumerable city-sized robotic drones. This entity spans an outrageous 100,000 miles across the cosmos and functions as a united consciousness of mechanical components, with each one of them comparable in scale to a busy metropolis. The inception of this horrifying force lies with the cosmic beings called Aeons. When the highly advanced Kree civilization constructed Galactus, their original intent was to create a mechanism to achieve a sense of universal purification. However, the entity proved to be uncontrollable and supposedly ever evolving beyond its design parameters into its currently destructive form. Galactus poses a profound threat to all biological life, believing that organic existence is an abhorrent defilement. For millennia, it has traveled the galaxies, leaving behind a wake of lifeless planetary husks, systematically eradicating all life-bearing worlds it encounters. For a very long time, only the Kree, the very same race that created Galactus, managed to truly understand what this entity was. They built a special android called Eidolon Apparition Vision to try to warn other worlds that seemed to be in Galactus's path by telling them to evacuate or suffer complete extinction. About a century ago, this Vision android even tried to warn Earth. Unfortunately, it crashed in a remote region in Siberia called Tunguska. For 23 long years since that, the Vision lay there, slowly recovering in a kind of deep sleep. Eventually, some Soviet explorers found it, and instead of listening to its warning, the Soviet authorities tried to leverage it as an opportunity. For decades, they secretly kept the Vision and used its advanced technology to power their super soldier program. Bits and pieces of Vision were grafted onto human subjects, but instead of building super soldiers, they turned many of them into monstrous beings. And when the Soviet Union collapsed and their money ran out, the project staff simply locked away the Vision and their failed super soldiers in a hidden bunker. Another 10 years have passed since the failure. Now, finally, the Vision had managed to repair itself enough to send out a signal. This signal reached all of Earth's communication networks and even got to people with psychic abilities. It was trying its best to warn everyone about Galactus. It just caused more fear and mass suicides and ended up accidentally mimicking Galactus's terrifying tactics. Presuming this to be a terrorist attack, General Nick Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D. put together a special black operations team that included the likes of Captain America, Sam Wilson, and the Black Widow, with the objective of putting out the signal. Simultaneously, Professor Charles Xavier, the leader of the X-Men, also sensed the signal and sent some of his X-Men, like Colossus, Marvel Girl, and Wolverine, to the same area. Both teams ended up fighting their way through groups of these crazy, unnatural beings in the bunker. Finally, they reached the partially disassembled Vision, and it was then and there that the Vision finally delivered its dire warning, and it was that Galactus was coming for Earth. Role of Galactus. Now that we have an idea of who he is, let's understand what Galactus does. What's his role, his objectives, and his purpose? Let's see. For thousands of years, the gigantic robotic swarm known as Galactus soared across the universe, with its only purpose being to destroy every planet that had living things on it. When Galactus picked a world to eat, it didn't just attack directly. Firstly, it would flood the planet with psychic fear broadcasts. This was a tactical mind attack where, in just a few hours, it would make everyone on the planet go completely and permanently crazy and in a state of unstoppable panic. Before the main swarm of robots arrived, Galactus would send out a type of strange and silvery human-like robots called heralds that would land on the planet's surface. Their job was to cause even more chaos and weaken all possibilities of resistance. They would lead to disastrous suicide cults and easily convince large numbers of people to kill themselves. This abhorrent strategy was meant to break the planet's spirit and its ability to fight back. If people were terrified, insane, or could be found already killing themselves, there would be no one left to resist. Then came another step that would seem even more chilling. A virus that had flesh-eating abilities would be unleashed. This virus was ridiculously fast and would devour all living things on the planet in just a few hours. Now, once all life was gone, Galactus would move in for the final consumption. Its countless robotic modules would crack open the dying world and drill down to its very core. It would then go on to suck out all the energy from the planet, which would leave behind nothing but a cold, dead, hollow shell, almost like draining the lifeblood from a world. Only one alien race truly understood the horror of Galactus, its creators, the ancient Kree. As mentioned earlier, they designed an advanced android called Vision, which acted as a premonition signal to warn the living beings of the planet that was in Galactus' path. Thanks to this warning, superhero factions like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men were able to prepare a defense and also distract Galactus by direct mental contact with the Swarm. Meanwhile, the Ultimate Nullifier, a signature weapon, was used by Mr. Fantastic to blast Galactus, which destroyed about 20% of its total mass. This made the Swarm retreat from Earth, and it fled elsewhere in the galaxy. Years passed after Galactus' embarrassing defeat on Earth, and now the Swarm roamed the galaxies, continuing its destruction. It found itself in the middle of a massive space battle, consuming the fallen soldiers of the Chitauri and Kree races. Suddenly, there was a huge tear, like a rift in the fabric of reality, which was triggered by something huge happening in a completely different universe. Through this rift came Galactus' counterpart, who was none other than its alternate universe self from Earth 616. This other version was the classic Galactus. Now, when Galactus tried to consume Galactus, something unexpected happened. The robotic swarm of Galactus, instead, began to merge with Galactus. And this strange merging didn't destroy Galactus, but rather made him even stronger and, more importantly, gave him complete control over the entire robotic swarm of Galactus. Initially, Galactus' actions, after its merged form, proved to be overwhelming to cosmic superheroes. Silver Surfer and Nova, two incredibly powerful beings themselves, were forced to retreat to Earth because they could not showcase resistance and defend themselves, let alone put up a fight against the combined powers of Galactus and the Galactus swarm. Furthermore, Galactus served as a direct source of newer threats to Earth when a few of its drones managed to follow Silver Surfer and Nova to this planet. These individual drones then merged from Earth's sea life and end up creating more monstrous enemies for the heroes to fight. Now, Galactus, even in its merged form with Galactus, serves as the central focus of Captain Mar-Vel's entire life's mission. Mar-Vel, an Earth-dwelling Kree, had dedicated himself to destroying the original Galactus swarm, and even possessed special weapons for this very purpose. This proves that even before the merger, Galactus' existence prompted a hero who had spent a lifetime trying to strategize ways to defeat it. Additionally, Galactus' continued presence, even as part of the merged entity, directly leads to Captain Mar-Vel's heroic self-sacrifice, as eventually Mar-Vel discovers his specialized weapons are useless against the combined powers, attributes, and abilities of Galactus. Galactus, in its original form, possesses numerous devastating powers and attributes that are designed specifically for the destruction of planets. It can unleash fear rays from space, which essentially act like psychic broadcasts that cause an entire population to go permanently insane within mere hours, as mentioned earlier. Just like its robotic modules that could release flesh-eating viruses that rapidly consume all organic life on a planet, other than just biological annihilation. These robotic modules were capable of penetrating a planet's core to absorb its thermal energy, transferring this power back to the main Galactus swarm. Now, the merging of Galactus with Galactus greatly enhanced the former, which was now controlling the powers of Galactus as well. The incredible set of superpowers that Galactus himself possesses can be mentioned here too, which only went on to get intensified after the merger. Now, Galactus commands vast and almost limitless cosmic energy, which he can use to any extent and to achieve anything he desires. Additionally, he also possesses an immense godlike level of super strength, allowing him to exert incredible force, and his stamina can enable him to engage in physically demanding actions, like prolonged battles, without much exhaustion. And despite his immense size, Galactus can move at speeds that far exceed that of light. He's also virtually immune to all diseases, illnesses, and harmful substances, and thus making him nearly invulnerable to damage. Galactus can also levitate effortlessly by gliding through the air using only his mental will. It can also change his size, density, and mass at will by reshaping his body into any form he chooses. Interestingly, because he's more of a force of nature than a purely physical being, every intelligent race across the universe perceives Galactus in a different physical form. He possesses the ability of molecular restructuring, which means he can manipulate, reshape, and even rearrange the very building blocks of any living thing or object. And this allows him to rebuild and redesign things from the inside out. As a cosmic entity, Galactus can also change the form of matter by converting one substance onto another. There's also teleportation of himself and of itself after the merger, and along with that of other beings, including objects, to any location in the entire universe, simply by thinking about it. He's even shown the ability to teleport entire galaxies for defensive purposes. He can create cosmic force fields that are almost impossible to break through. He can also project extremely destructive blasts of cosmic energy that hit with immense force, while also being able to open wormholes and create portals between different dimensions, or even within the same dimension. His cosmic telepathy allows him to read minds or communicate with others across vast and universal distances. With cosmic telekinesis, he can move virtually unlimited amounts of mass using only his mind. And with cosmic awareness, he can sense disturbances or changes in the cosmic energy throughout the entire universe. His powers even extend to being able to resurrect the dead and create complex, living biological or mechanical life forms from nothing. Galactus can control and manipulate the souls and spirits of living beings by using the ability to change people's memories and emotions. He can even recreate an entire solar system, complete with planets and their populations, and in perfect detail. Furthermore, Galactus can provide his powers to others, such as his heralds, who have attained a tiny fraction of his cosmic power in multiple storylines, enabling them to manipulate matter and energy in ways far beyond human understanding. But despite his immense power, Galactus has a significant weakness too: his cosmic hunger. He requires a specific type of energy to survive, which is found only in certain planets. These planets don't necessarily need to have life, but they must have the potential to support it. When Galactus has been recently fed, he's incredibly powerful. However, the longer he goes without feeding, the more his strength, power, and cosmic awareness decrease. Just over a month after consuming a suitable planet, his power will have already been reduced significantly. Though even in this weakened state, his abilities still far exceed human understanding. In more recent times, Galactus has been known to go without feeding for many months, which brought him close to death and weakened him enough that he could have been directly attacked by powerful superhuman teams like the Avengers or the Fantastic Four. It's worth noting that before merging with Galactus, Galactus destroyed planets not only to feed on their thermal energy, but also to eliminate sentient species, which it found disgusting. Consuming a planet simply provided it with enough energy to continue its destructive journey. And according to Marvel, the Kree built the swarm Aeons to purify the universe and wipe out their enemies. But it escaped their control and evolved into its current form. Galactus considered all organic life to be abhorrent, and when it made telepathic contact with Professor X, it viewed the experience as a profound desecration. In the Marvel Comics, Galactus is consistently portrayed as a vast, collective intelligence of robotic entities, a true hive mind that travels the cosmos solely to consume planets. Outro. And that's our video for today. Galactus, the planet devourer from Earth 1610, is a darker and more terrifying version of Galactus. Instead of being one cosmic being, it's a massive swarm of city-sized machines that think as one. We looked at its origin, what it wants, and the crazy powers it has. With the Fantastic Four movie releasing later this month, let's see how they bring Galactus to life in live action for the first time. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, share it with your friends. And let us know in the comments what you're hoping to see in the movie. Don't forget to subscribe to Marvelous Videos for more. Until next time, take care and ciao.